The blossoms beyond the gate. Once upon a time, the sun entrusted her garden to a charming gardener. The gardener promised he would care for the garden with the sun. At first, the garden thrived. Planted in fertile ground, the blooms were emerging sweet and tender, growing stronger and basking in the enveloping warmth of the sun's love, which shone so brightly through the canopy of leaves that were dancing to the wind songs. Suddenly, the gardener began despising the sun. He did all he could to remove the sun's rays and shrouded the garden in darkness, ushering in an era of withering heartache and confusion in the tender blooms. One day the gardener yanked all the blooms out of the ground that they were planted in and convinced them that their new home would be the best garden they could ever ask for. He misled them to believe that there would still be sunshine where he was taking them. With no real choice, they naively succumbed to his charming promises and fear. Once there, he planted them on his windowsill and closed the curtains. Every day he sprayed them with a toxic mist. They began to wither. Finally, he planted them outside in his new garden so his neighbors could see him doing well with his seedlings. He'd set the blooms among the weeds and the thorns in the most shaded corner of the garden. His neighbors were puzzled, but were afraid to speak. The darkness, thorns, and weeds together made the tender blooms withdraw. They languished there. The lock to the garden's gate loosened with each passing season, and spots of sunshine began peeking through, illuminating a small path that the blooms could stretch to beyond the gate. Miraculously, the blooms were able to vine and traverse past the gate and onto a green, grassy pathway. They saw the world for the first time, and they felt the enveloping warmth of the sunshine they knew was always there. With half their root system now beyond the gate and the other half still within the barren garden, the blooms began to embrace their inner beauty and strength as they moved toward the sun. The rotted soil relinquished its hold as they struggled loose. Their tender tendrils vined out and gained strength. They began to flourish beyond the gate as they left part of themselves behind. The tarnished soil had no power anymore, and the gardener, whose seeds of sabotage stole time but never love, faded away as if he never planted a single seed. It took courage for the blooms to leave what they knew. Their heart to survive and thrive, aided by the warmth of the sun, was strong. As they faintly remember the gardens of their past, the blooms successfully blossomed and together with the sun, now bask in the light of healing, forgiveness, and acceptance.